There's something chilling about the presence of a narcissist. They walk into a room, and before a word is spoken, the atmosphere shifts. It's as if the very air thickens with tension, an unspoken dominance filling the space. You've met them before. The ones who charm you in an instant, only to leave you doubting your own reality. The ones who present themselves as the center of the universe, yet somehow, despite all their grandeur, seem deeply hollow inside. But what if there's more to this than just personality flaws? What if narcissism is not merely a psychological condition, but a manifestation of something much darker, something deeply spiritual? Narcissists don't just manipulate, they deceive. They don't just seek admiration, they demand worship. And when their control is threatened, they don't just get angry, they become vengeful, ruthless, relentless. It's as if something unseen is fueling them, something ancient and insidious, something that thrives in shadows and feeds on dominance and submission. What if these behaviors are not just disorders, but manifestations of spirits that have plagued humanity for generations? The spirit of pride and arrogance is one of the most dangerous forces that can take hold of a person. It blinds them, isolates them, and convinces them that they are beyond reproach, beyond correction, beyond the need for growth. It whispers in their ear that they are always right, that others exist to serve them, that humility is for the weak. And once this mindset is fully embraced, it becomes nearly impossible to break free. Pride is not just self-confidence gone too far. It is a prison of the mind that locks a person inside their own delusions. A narcissist consumed by pride does not seek truth because truth would mean admitting fault. They do not seek connection because genuine relationships require vulnerability. They do not seek growth because growth would mean acknowledging imperfection. Instead, they construct an image, an illusion of superiority, of invincibility, of flawlessness, and they defend this illusion with everything they have, lashing out at anyone who dares to challenge it. But here's the reality. Pride is not strength. Arrogance is not power. True strength lies in the ability to recognize one's own limitations, to learn from others, to admit when one is wrong, and make changes. True power is in growth, in wisdom, in the ability to rise above ego and pursue something greater than the self. Narcissists, however, reject this entirely. They live in a world where they must always be the smartest, the most talented, the most important person in the room. And when they feel that's slipping away, they do not adjust. They attack. The tragedy of pride is that it isolates the person who holds on to it. They push people away, they destroy relationships, they sabotage their own success because they refuse to acknowledge that they don't have all the answers. And the worst part? They don't even see it happening. They believe that others are the problem, that the world simply doesn't appreciate their greatness, that people are jealous or foolish for not seeing things their way. They become trapped in their own self-made superiority complex, unable to recognize the damage they are causing to themselves and those around them. If you've ever dealt with someone overtaken by pride and arrogance, you know how exhausting it can be. You can try reasoning with them, showing them the flaws in their thinking, giving them opportunities to grow, but they won't take it. They'll twist your words, dismiss your wisdom, turn every confrontation into an attack on their identity, because to them, admitting they are wrong is worse than failure, it's annihilation. Their entire self-worth is built on the belief that they are above criticism, above correction, above needing help. And so they remain stuck. But here's the truth. Pride is a mask for insecurity. A truly confident person does not need to dominate others, does not need to be the center of attention, does not need to diminish others to feel superior. True confidence allows for humility, for learning, for the ability to stand strong while also recognizing where improvement is needed. But a narcissist cannot allow this. Their pride is not a reflection of strength, but of fear. The fear of being seen as ordinary, of being vulnerable, of not being in control. The only way to break free from the spirit of pride and arrogance is through humility, through a willingness to confront reality, through an openness to learning and growing. But most narcissists will never do this. They will cling to their delusions, even if it means losing everything: relationships, opportunities, respect, love. Because for them, admitting they were wrong feels worse than losing it all. If you are dealing with someone overtaken by this spirit, understand this: you cannot change them. You cannot argue them into humility. You cannot force them to see their own flaws. You cannot convince them to embrace growth. The only person you control is yourself. Do not let their arrogance make you doubt yourself. Do not let their pride pull you into their games. Stand in truth, stand in strength, and recognize that real power comes not from dominating others, but from mastering yourself. The spirit of deception and manipulation is one of the most insidious forces that can take hold of a person. It operates in the shadows, twisting reality, distorting truth, and creating illusions that keep others trapped in confusion and self-doubt. This is the tool of the narcissist: the ability to bend facts, rewrite history, and convince people that up is down and wrong is right. It is not just lying. It is a calculated effort to control, to dominate, and to ensure that their version of reality is the only one that matters. A master manipulator does not deceive openly. They do not announce their lies. Instead, they weave them carefully into everyday interactions, subtle enough to go unnoticed, yet powerful enough to make people question themselves. They tell half-truths, omitting the parts that would expose them. They shift blame, always making sure that someone else carries the weight of their actions. They gaslight, making others feel as though their memories and emotions cannot be trusted. Over time, their victims become trapped, not by physical force, but by mental and emotional chains so strong that they doubt their own ability to break free. The most dangerous thing about deception is that it makes you second-guess yourself. When you're constantly being manipulated, you start to feel like you are the problem. You start questioning your own judgment, your own worth, your own reality. That is exactly what they want, because as long as you are confused, as long as you are uncertain, they remain in control. They thrive on your doubt, your hesitation, your fear. But here's the truth: manipulation is a sign of weakness, not strength. It is the weapon of those who are too afraid to be honest, too insecure to be real, too desperate for control to let people see them as they truly are. A strong person does not need to deceive others. A strong person stands in truth, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. But a narcissist, they fear the truth more than anything, because the truth would reveal who they really are: flawed, broken, and not nearly as powerful as they want the world to believe. If you have ever been on the receiving end of manipulation, you know how draining it can be. You know the feeling of constantly trying to prove yourself, constantly trying to defend yourself against accusations that don't make sense, constantly feeling like you are walking on eggshells, never knowing when the next attack will come. That is not love. That is not respect. That is control. And the moment you recognize it for what it is, you take away its power. The only way to break free from deception and manipulation is through clarity. You must see it for what it is. You must trust yourself again. You must understand that a manipulator's words are designed to keep you in a fog, to keep you questioning, to keep you hooked. The moment you stop engaging in their games, the moment you stop seeking their validation, the moment you decide to stand firm in what you know to be true, they lose their hold on you. And if you are someone who has used manipulation to control others, ask yourself, what are you so afraid of? Why do you feel the need to twist reality instead of facing it? Why do you choose deception when honesty would set you free? The strongest thing you can do is not to control others, but to control yourself. The real power is not in bending people to your will, but in standing in truth, no matter what it costs. Those who manipulate may seem powerful for a time, but in the end, the truth always wins. The question is, when the truth comes to light, will you be standing on the right side of it? The spirit of chaos and destruction is one of the most devastating forces that can take hold of a person. It thrives on disorder, feeds on conflict, and seeks to tear down everything stable, everything meaningful, everything built with patience and care. A person consumed by this spirit is not content with peace. They are not satisfied with harmony. Instead, they create drama where there is none, ignite conflicts that should never exist, and destroy relationships, opportunities, and environments simply because they cannot stand stability. Narcissists ruled by chaos do not just experience turmoil, they create it. If things are too calm, they stir the waters. If people are getting along, they sow division. If something good is happening, they sabotage it. Not because they are seeking justice or truth, but because destruction gives them control. When everything is in turmoil, when everyone is on edge, they hold the power. They become the one others have to appease, the one people have to walk carefully around, the one who dictates the emotional climate of a room. But here's what you need to understand. This is not strength. This is not confidence. It is fear. A person driven by the spirit of chaos fears losing control. They fear being exposed, being ordinary, being irrelevant. So, they destroy anything they cannot dominate. They create dysfunction in friendships, strain in families, toxicity in workplaces, not because they are victims of circumstance, but because they need the disorder to feel important. To them, chaos is not a problem. It is a strategy. If you have ever dealt with someone like this, you know how exhausting it is. You know the feeling of constantly being pulled into unnecessary drama, constantly trying to fix what they break, constantly living in a state of uncertainty because they refuse to allow peace. You might even start believing that this is just how life is. Unstable, filled with conflict, impossible to manage. But that is the trap. That is the lie. Life is not meant to be a battlefield of unnecessary struggle. Well, healthy people do not manufacture destruction. They build, they heal, they uplift. The spirit of chaos is not about passion, and it is not about being misunderstood. It is about control through destruction. And when someone operates in this spirit, nothing around them can grow. Relationships wither, opportunities vanish, dreams die. Not because the world is against them, but because they refuse to let anything thrive. They cannot stand to see happiness they did not create, success they did not orchestrate, or peace they did not control. So they burn it all down, and then they blame the ashes on everyone but themselves. If you recognize this pattern in someone around you, do not engage in their chaos. Do not let them drag you into their storms. Understand that peace is a choice, and you do not have to participate in their dysfunction. You do not have to play their game. You do not have to be a casualty in their endless cycle of destruction. Walk away. Protect your energy. Choose stability, even if they call you weak for it. Because the strongest thing you can do in the face of chaos is refuse to be consumed by it. And if you recognize this pattern in yourself, understand this: destruction does not make you powerful. Chaos does not make you interesting. Hurting others, tearing things down, and causing disorder just to feel significant will not give you real meaning. True power is in creation. True strength is in building something that lasts. And if you have spent your life wrapped in chaos, you still have a choice. You can break the cycle. You can decide to stop being an agent of destruction and start being a force for something greater. The question is, will you? The spirit of entitlement and self-worship is one of the most dangerous and destructive forces that can take hold of a person. It whispers lies of superiority, convincing them that they are owed something simply for existing, that they deserve rewards without effort, that their wants and needs should always come first, regardless of the cost to others. A person consumed by this spirit does not strive for excellence. They expect it to be handed to them. They do not work for success. They believe they are entitled to it. They do not build meaningful relationships. They demand loyalty without offering anything in return. Entitlement is a poison that corrodes character. It strips a person of humility, of gratitude, of the understanding that life does not revolve around them. Instead of taking responsibility, they blame others. Instead of putting in the effort, they expect others to carry the burden. Instead of acknowledging that respect, success, and love must be earned, they assume they are automatically deserving of it. And when life does not bend to their expectations, when people do not cater to their every desire, they lash out, convinced that the world is unfair, rather than realizing that they are the ones refusing to grow. But entitlement is not strength. Self-worship is not confidence. True strength comes from discipline, from resilience, from the willingness to work hard, to serve, to contribute to something greater than yourself. The world does not reward those who sit back and expect everything to be handed to them. It rewards those who take action, who sacrifice, who strive to make an impact. Success is not a birthright. Respect is not automatic. Love is not something you can demand without offering anything in return. The people who truly succeed in life are those who understand that everything worth having must be earned. The person ruled by entitlement and self-worship believes they are above the rules that govern everyone else. They take credit for things they did not do. They expect admiration without offering anything of real value. They think the world owes them, yet they contribute nothing in return. And when they do not receive the recognition they crave, they become bitter, resentful, angry. But here's the truth. Life does not owe you anything. No one is coming to hand you success, to validate your worth, to guarantee your happiness. Those things are built through effort, through accountability, through the willingness to face reality, rather than demand that the world bend to your will. If you have encountered someone consumed by this spirit, you know how exhausting it can be. You know the frustration of watching them take but never give, expect but never contribute, demand but never appreciate. You know the feeling of being drained, of constantly trying to meet their impossible expectations, only for them to dismiss your efforts as never enough. But you must understand, this is not your burden to carry. You do not have to cater to someone who refuses to take responsibility for their own life. You do not have to exhaust yourself trying to satisfy someone who will never be satisfied. The only way to deal with entitlement is to set boundaries, to stand firm in reality and refuse to enable the illusion that they are more important than everyone else. And if you see this spirit in yourself, it is time to wake up. The world does not exist to serve you. Success, respect, and love are not things you are entitled to. They are things you must work for. Life is not about getting everything you want without effort. It is about becoming the kind of person who deserves the things they desire. If you want greatness, earn it. If you want respect, show it to others. If you want to be valued, make yourself valuable. True fulfillment does not come from demanding that the world recognize your worth. It comes from proving it through your actions. The choice is yours. Remain trapped in entitlement and self-worship, or rise above it and become someone who truly earns the life they want. The spirit of emotional vampirism is one of the most draining and toxic forces a person can encounter. It is the relentless hunger for attention, validation, and energy from others without ever giving anything back. Those ruled by this spirit do not seek genuine connection, they seek to consume. They drain the emotional strength of those around them, leaving them exhausted, empty, and doubting their own worth. They thrive on making others responsible for their happiness, their moods, their self-esteem, demanding constant reassurance and devotion while offering little to nothing in return. You know this type of person. They enter a room and instantly shift the energy to revolve around them. Every conversation becomes about their problems, their struggles, their emotions. No matter how much you try to support them, it is never enough. They are not looking for solutions. They are looking for sympathy, for attention, for someone to carry the weight of their emotional burdens so they do not have to. And the worst part, the moment you set boundaries, the moment you stop feeding their endless need, they turn on you. Suddenly, you are the selfish one, the uncaring one, the one who has abandoned them. But the truth is, you were never in a mutual relationship. You were in a one-sided transaction where your energy was the only thing keeping them afloat. This spirit does not build, it destroys. It does not give, it takes. It does not encourage growth. It keeps people stuck in a cycle of dependency, where they believe the only way they can feel whole is by draining the strength of those around them. But that is a lie. No one can complete you. No one can be responsible for your emotional well-being except you. And when someone refuses to take accountability for their own healing, their own happiness, their own growth, they will always look for someone else to fill the void. That is why no matter how much you give, it will never be enough. The emptiness inside them cannot be filled by external sources. It can only be filled by doing the hard work of self-reflection, healing, and change. If you have ever been in the presence of an emotional vampire, you know the toll it takes. You feel drained after every interaction. You feel guilty for wanting space. You feel like no matter what you do, you are always failing them. But hear this, you are not responsible for carrying the emotional weight of another person. Are you contributing to relationships, or are you expecting others to meet your emotional needs without ever meeting theirs? And the strongest thing you can do is not demand more from others. It is to become someone who can stand on their own, someone who can regulate their own emotions, someone who does not need to take from others in order to feel whole. The spirit of emotional vampirism is a trap. It convinces people that their survival depends on others feeding them energy, attention, validation. But true power comes from within. True fulfillment is not about what others can give you. It is about what you create for yourself. Do the work, heal the wounds, learn to stand on your own. Because when you do, you will no longer need to take from others. Instead, you will have something of real value to offer. And that is where true strength begins. And finally, you must reclaim your own sense of worth. A narcissist's greatest fear is someone who is strong enough to walk away, someone who cannot be controlled. They thrive on making you doubt yourself. But the truth is, their power is an illusion. Once you break free, once you see them for what they are, you will understand they were never as powerful as they wanted you to believe. This is not just a battle of psychology. This is a battle of the soul. To stand against narcissism is to stand against something ancient and dark, something that has manipulated and destroyed for centuries. But if you have awareness, if you have strength, if you have the courage to walk away, you win. The question is, are you ready to see the truth?